The deepest truth of financial history is this: crashes are never random, they're simply mathematics, expressed through collective psychology. Every generation believes it's smarter than the last, and every generation eventually proves itself wrong. In 1929, cheap credit fueled a mania that ended in disaster. In 2008, easy mortgages created the illusion of safety, until the system collapsed. And today, January 2025, we're standing inside the largest everything bubble humanity has ever seen. In this video, I'm going to show you why the coming 2026 to 2027 crisis isn't a prophecy, but a mathematical repetition of history. We'll look at the triggers that could burst this bubble, the 5 stages every crash follows, who loses everything, who gets rich, and why this time the scale is bigger than anything we've ever witnessed. Because here's the truth: in every crisis, wealth doesn't disappear, it simply changes hands. Financial history teaches us one harsh lesson: very little in economics is random. What we call fate is usually just mathematics meeting human psychology. Every generation thinks it's more intelligent, more advanced, more prepared than the one before it. And every generation eventually proves itself wrong by repeating the same mistakes. In the 1920s, cheap credit created a tidal wave of speculation. The result was the Great Depression. In the 2000s, cheap mortgages made everyone believe housing could never fall. The result was the global financial crisis. And each time, experts confidently declared, "This time is different." It never was. Today, January 2025, not only are we inside a bubble, we are inside the biggest everything bubble in human history. Stocks, housing, government bonds, all inflated at the same time. The S&P 500 sits near 6,000. Price-to-earnings ratios exceed 28. Only 2 times in history were valuations this extreme: the 1929 mania and the 2000 dot-com bubble. Buffett's favorite indicator, market cap to GDP, is flashing its loudest warning ever. The danger level is anything above 120%. Before the 2000 crash, it hit 145%. Before the 2008 crisis, it was 135%. Today, it's 185%. This is the most overvalued stock market in American history, and beneath the surface lies concentration risk. 7 companies: Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Amazon, Google, Meta, and Tesla, now make up nearly 1/3 of the entire index. Nvidia alone is 7% of the S&P 500. If even one of these giants falters, the entire market could collapse. Housing looks even worse. In 2008, home prices were 35% above trend. Today, they're 50% above trend. 43% more inflated than at the peak of the last housing bubble. Meanwhile, global debt has reached $338 trillion. The United States alone carries over $36 trillion of government debt. And interest payments, between $1.2 and $2 trillion a year, are now the single largest item in the federal budget. This level of fiscal strain resembles the final stages of past empires, like Rome, or nations like Mexico in 1982, when it simply said, "We can't pay." Why could the 2026 to 2027 crisis be worse than 1929 and 2008 combined? Because during past crashes, governments and central banks still had ammunition. In 2008, the Federal Reserve cut rates from 5.25% to 0. It launched quantitative easing, expanding its balance sheet from $800 billion to $4 trillion. The government could borrow freely because debt levels were manageable. Today, that's no longer possible. Inflation is high, so rates can't be cut to 0 safely. The Fed already printed trillions between 2020 and 2022. QE has lost its power, and government debt, now at 125% of GDP, makes massive bailouts dangerous. The system is cornered. So what could trigger the collapse? Trigger 1. Commercial real estate. $2 trillion in CRE loans must be refinanced in 2025 to 2026. Interest rates are triple what they were when those loans were issued. Regional banks could fail. Trigger 2. Corporate debt. Companies that borrowed at near 0 rates now face refinancing at 7 to 8%. Bankruptcies could explode. Trigger 3. A geopolitical shock. Conflict over Taiwan. Middle East instability, oil disruptions, a contested U.S. election. Any major shock could set off a chain reaction. Once the trigger hits, crashes follow a predictable five-phase sequence. Phase 1, the initial shock. Markets fall 10 to 15% in days. Phase 2, the false recovery. Politicians declare the crisis contained, investors buy the dip. Under the surface, the system keeps deteriorating. Phase 3, the cascade, forced liquidations, margin calls, credit freezes, markets fall 50 to 70%. Phase 4, the panic bottom. Unemployment surges, banks fail, emergency stimulus begins. Phase 5, the slow recovery. It can take 5 to 10 years, or longer, for markets to return to previous highs. But here's the part that most people miss. Crashes don't destroy wealth, they transfer it. In 1929, Joseph Kennedy saw the collapse coming and made millions. In 2008, John Paulson's bet against subprime made him $20 billion. Warren Buffett used the panic to buy Goldman Sachs and Bank of America at historic discounts. The same pattern will repeat. Those who prepare, who reduce exposure, hold cash, keep dry powder, own hard assets, will survive, and many will thrive. Those who follow the crowd, those fully invested, fully leveraged, fully exposed, will be wiped out. This is not financial advice. It's pattern recognition. Reduce risk, hold short-duration treasuries, keep an emergency fund, watch commercial real estate defaults, monitor regional bank stocks, track high-yield bond spreads, and mentally prepare to buy when fear is at its maximum. History is clear. 1929, 1930. And now, the approaching 2026 to 2027 cycle. Same pattern, same sequence, same outcome. The only real question is this: will you see it coming? Or will you learn the lesson the hard way, like every generation that believed? This time is different.